A yogi should learn to control his senses, keep his body clean, and purify his mind by arousing feelings of kindness and love towards all living creatures. Certain yogic postures, when practiced with special breathing exercises, develop certain powers latent in the nerve centers and the different organs of the system. You are what your deep, driving desire is. As your desire is, so is your will. As your will is, so is your deed. As your deed is, so is your destiny. Practice becomes firmly grounded when well attended to for a long time, without break, and in all earnestness. Those who are not patient cannot hope to arrive at true realization. The aim of yoga is to remove all mental obstructions and to gain a perfectly controlled, healthy mind. Yoga maintains that the outer world exists only in relation to the inner nature of each individual. What mind is to itself, the phenomenal world of sense perception is to the mind. When the superconscious realization is acquired, all doubts will cease forever. All questions concerning the nature of the soul will be answered. The search after truth will stop. The mind will become tranquil, and the soul will be emancipated from the bondage of ignorance and self-delusion. Before the student is able to concentrate on any particular object, he must learn to gather up his scattered mental powers. The little space within the heart is as great as the vast universe. The heavens and the earth are there, and the sun and the moon and the stars. Fire and lightning and winds are there, and all that now is and all that is not. It is everywhere, though we see it not. Just so, dear one, the self is everywhere, within all things, although we see it not. There is nothing that does not come from it. It is the truth. It is the Self Supreme. You are that. Dreams are real as long as they last. Can we say more of life? Who is better able to know God than I myself, since He resides in my heart and is the very essence of my being? Such should be the attitude of one who is seeking. He who sees all beings in his self and his self in all beings, he never suffers, because when he sees all creatures within his true self, then jealousy, grief, and hatred vanish. That which is not comprehended by the mind but by which the mind comprehends, know that. As the sun, revealer of all objects to the seer, is not harmed by the sinful eye, nor by the impurities of the objects it gazes on, so the one self, dwelling in all, is not touched by the evils of the world. Memories create impressions in the mind, and at a later time, come to the surface, either when we want them or sometimes even when we do not want them. What exactly is the difference between a dream and waking experience? What happens to the sense of I in dreamless sleep? And they sought invariance. In the constantly changing flow of human experience, is there anything that remains the same? In the constantly changing flow of thought, is there an observer who remains the same? Is there any thread of continuity, some level of reality higher than waking, in which these states of mind cohere? A thoroughly illiterate man can attain to the highest state of spiritual perfection without going to any school or university, and without reading any scripture, if he can conquer his animal nature by realizing his true self and its relation to the universal spirit. Only he who has a coordinated understanding of both the visible and the invisible, of matter and spirit, of activity and that which is behind activity, conquers nature and thus overcomes death. Memories come in two ways. Dreams are memories that come to the surface when we sleep. Daydreams are memories that arise during the day. That which comes out of the infinite whole must also be infinite. Hence the self is infinite. That is the ocean. We are the drops. So long as the drop remains separate from the ocean, it is small and weak. But when it is one with the ocean, then it has all the strength of the ocean. Materialism leads us to lose awareness of our inner life, which is bad enough, but to be hypnotized by our own feelings and sensations and forget about others and the world around us is worse. The infinite, free, unbounded, full of joy is our native state. Once you are unattached in your personal life, you can serve others, and by doing that you will find more and more joy. The selfless person is the most selfish one. Why? Because a selfless person doesn't want to lose his or her peace and happiness. When the entire nature sacrifices, why should we human beings alone lead selfish lives? We are here to give and give and give. The moment the purely focused mind contemplates an object, it goes to the very depth of that object and understands every particle of it. The unmanifest appears as manifest, and then returns to the unmanifest. Yoga does not claim that physical health is the same as spirituality. If a healthy body were a sign of spirituality, then wild animals and savages who enjoy perfect health would be exceedingly spiritual. The principal idea of yogis is that physical maladies are obstacles in the path of spiritual progress, while a healthy body furnishes one of the most favorable conditions for the realization of the highest spiritual truths in this life. Food, again, which, having been once cooked, has grown cold and been rewarmed, should be avoided. Yogis can raise the healing power stored up at the base of the spine and direct it to the diseased part. The moment you understand yourself as the true self, you find such peace and bliss that the impressions of the petty enjoyments you experienced before become as ordinary specks of light in front of the brilliant sun.